Welcome to today's Craftmas. It's time to personalize some dollar store stockings for today's Craftmas video. You can use any stockings you want. If you're able to find stockings that have a higher count of polyester, you can sublimate on those or use infusible ink. These ones that I have are just regular cheap ones from the dollar store. They were $1.50 each. And I went ahead and picked up these ones. I thought they were pretty cute. There were a bunch of other ones. I went to like the Dollar Tree, Dollarama, and a few years ago, our local Dollarama had some really nice ones that I sold and made a lot of money. I sold these for about $15 each, and at the time it cost about $1 to get the stocking, so altogether less than $2 to make it. So my profit was very high. Now, all I'm going to do is jump on over to Cricut Design Space. I went ahead and I just typed out the names that I wanted, and we're going to be doing these today with heat transfer vinyl. I'm using the Caesar brand in black, so we can get ready to make these little stockings. I am going to cut off all of these tags, so we're going to do that. That way my heat press isn't melting the plastic and the cardboard of this, just making a mess. So go ahead and do that. Now, because this is red, sometimes it does transfer a little funny. Also, when you press this, you will notice that the fluff gets very flattened. You can fluff it out over time. If you're not too sure, you can also use a hair straightener to do this. So that's what we're going to be doing for today's video. You do not need a heat press for this. If you have one, that's great. But if you just have a regular hair straightener, that's gonna work perfectly. For this project, we are going to pull in my little decals that I made. I am going to quickly size my stockings and make sure it's good. So it cannot be more than 7 by 3. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure that that matches. Perfect. These are all sized now. We're ready to make it. So when you go in to make it, make sure you are mirroring your image and continue. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my vinyl. For today's project, we are using some black Caesar Easy Weed heat transfer vinyl. This is amazing and one of my absolute favorite vinyls to use by far. So let's get started. Vinyl that I have left over from a previous project. A lot of my Craftmas projects, I am just using my scraps because I want to use those up. And as you can see, the shiny side, the part that feels plasticky, is going against the mat, because the vinyl at the top is what we're wanting to cut out, and the shiny side is actually almost like our transfer tape. With heat transfer vinyl, it's typically already applied on there. So we are ready to cut this out. I'm going to load up my Cricut. The material I'm selecting is Everyday Iron-On, of course, and it is mirrored. We're ready to cut it out. Now it's time to weed out my vinyl. I'm going to go ahead and start weeding it out. I do have some extra parts here that I can use as scrap, so I will cut around that first to make sure that I'm not going to be losing anything before pulling out all the background. But I'm just going to get all the middle of the letters out. This is my favorite part. I just love weeding heat transfer vinyl so much. I'm so excited to do this fun little project with a hair straightener. This feels like I'm going back to the olden days when I started off with my Cricut. So I'm going to cut the excess bit off to save for scraps for my next project, and I'll be back when this is fully weeded out. Now that I have it all weeded out, I'm going to take some parchment paper to not only overlay on top of my decal to protect it, but the inside of this stocking, because it is a very thin little piece. I don't want it to go all the way through. This piece I'm just folding up, and I'm putting inside the stocking. Now that's inside the stocking, you can go ahead and take your vinyl, overlay it where you want it, and make sure to put your parchment paper over top as well. Now you're ready to heat up your hair straightener and get started. I have my hair straightener heating up here on the lowest setting. The next setting was 365 degrees, which would just be too much. Perfect. And then I'm ready to go. So once my hair straightener is warm enough, I'm going to go in along the edges here, one at a time, just a little bit, holding it and pressing it. The first part I'm doing just to get it on there so it doesn't move around. So essentially what I'm doing for the first part is just sticking it down. I don't want it to move around, and I'm going to do the other side as well. And then once that's on there, I can really go in and do a full press. And I'm actually going to turn this up a little bit to 365. It's not going to get there, to that point because it's so quick to press it, but I do want it to get a little bit warmer than it is. So this is all you do, quite literally it, like this. Perfect. So now that it's on there and it's stuck on there, I'm going to go in this way from the top and press each individual letter. These letters are fairly big. If you have smaller letters, you can press a few at a time, but I just want to make sure each little corner of this is on. So I want the long part of the barrel to be facing along with the letters. So as you can see, super quickly just pressing it. It works so well. I love doing this, and like I said, I've made hundreds of dollars selling these stockings and my little Christmas elves when I first got my Cricut, and all I had was my hair straightener. And it was so much faster to use a straightener than a press because it heats up quickly. It's just so easy. I did it on my bedroom floor, and there we go. So once it cools down, I can peel it off and show you. I even took off the parchment paper and just going in and pressing it a little bit more because I just want to get this corner on there really good. And now I'm going to slowly peel it up. So slowly peeling away. It just goes on there so nicely with the hair straightener. Like, check that out. Doesn't that look so cute? Ah! Okay, let's do the rest of them and see how it looks.